With Pokemon Champions only 2 weeks away from release, there's a lot of things that we don't know yet, especially from a draft league perspective. And today, I'm going to outline some of the debates that have been going on, and why there's some aspects that I'm incredibly hopeful for, and some aspects that I have my concerns. How's it going, guys? And welcome back to the Road to Champions. This being episode 9, which is crazy. As I said, the game comes out April 8th. We are so close. We have seen PAX footage. We have seen so much footage of this game. We saw the previews that went positively. But the issue is that from a draft league perspective, there's so much we still don't know. And I'm going to outline some of my hopes and fears based on the stuff that we don't know, as well as some of the stuff we've found out and why they might have major implications. Disclosure that there will be a mix of elements when it comes to this. Some of them from strictly a Wi-Fi side of things, and some of them in terms of the format as a whole. They will both be intertwined because there will be some stuff in here that will obviously not affect PS Draft whatsoever, and some stuff that PS Draft might honestly straight up ignore because they can. And it's not restricted by the game in any means, which is a little bit awkward because it could lead to some fake mon formats, and we've been there before, but you know, we always do manage to survive through these things, so what would be one more? And without further ado, let's jump into it. My first hope is that the timer is adjustable in custom games. And this might be a little bit of a niche one to some people, and that'll probably be the young ones out there. Timer has always been a problem when it comes to draft on the Wi-Fi side of things, and it's why Swish was such an issue, because that 10-minute timer just was not doable with a chess timer. Even though it was actually even playing animations, so it was near impossible to get any sort of game done. People tried, and good God they did try, but it just wasn't quite the same. So what do I want? I want an adjustable timer from that 10 minutes that we've seen in some of the footage, and the big things for me would be either get the 60 minutes back, like we used to have in Oris, as well as in Usum. That would be awesome, but I think that's probably wishful thinking. The 30-minute timer on both sides, still completely fine for use with draft in SV, because obviously it's such an offensive metagame, and I'd say Champions will be the same due to some of the other elements that they've introduced that I will touch on later. This is a minute thing, and I'll kind of get into more bigger stuff as we go, but I wanted to start small because that's how these things work. I want an adjustable timer. I think everyone would love an adjustable timer, and if it is just that 10-minute one, might have some issues. First fear is in the fact that Champions is a live service game. The term live service scares me, and there's a reason that I don't really touch either Fortnite or Marvel Rivals. And no, that's not because I'm not good at shooters, which is also true. The big thing for me when it comes to live service is I think that's going to be very difficult to handle from a draft league perspective. And the reason for that is because the seasons look like they're taking place monthly. We've already seen some balance changes that have been mentioned through some of the footage, such as Incineroar losing Knockoff, Gengar losing Encore, both of which make sense from a VGC perspective. But you also have this weird situation going around with Thunderwave or with Natural Cure that we don't quite have the answer to, and there's going to be plenty more of those when the game comes out. My biggest concern is that with leagues being likely an 8 to 12 week season, including playoffs, it means that you're going to have multiple different seasons, which could lead to multiple different balance changes that could get very confusing very quickly. It's going to be very, very difficult to keep up with all the changes that are made, to the point where someone might accidentally get buffs on mods they've already taken, lead to free agency issues, and it's just not a fun time. Hopefully it's all okay, and best case scenario we get something like PS that does tiers for every single season, but I'm not expecting that to be the case because I think seasons are just going to get dropped once they're done. And that's going to be tricky. Hopefully this is nothing, but there's definitely going to be some issues in my opinion, and let's just try and mitigate them as much as possible. One thing that we found out that isn't 100% confirmed, but is most likely to be confirmed, was from Cerebee's preview of the game, which mentioned that every item in the shop could only be bought once, but did have infinite use across any mod in the team. The issue from a draft league perspective is we don't quite play with those rules, unlike VGC as well as Battlespot singles. This also will apply to Smogon if people are looking to do OU battles on Wi-Fi. What year is it? The thing here is I could see this as a good thing, because this will stop people from doing the obvious, oh, I'm going to get Hazard Stack, time to spam boots, and I think that could be of major benefit. We do go back to that more Orisy style, like I said, and I think one item on every single mon is going to lead to some more interesting ideas, and the hope is that that invigorates more creativity rather than I'm just going to chuck on multiple choice scarves, multiple heavy duty boots here. It's going to cause people to think outside the box, and for me, when it comes to something like Champions, And from a Wi-Fi side of things, I think that just makes better content altogether. And that's what people want to see. People want to see innovation, new things, and just not, oh, this is yet another heavy duty boots, or this is my third citrus berry, or my fourth leftovers on this team. And I think that's going to be of major benefit. From the PS side of things, I think this is not going to be relevant whatsoever. This will be something that's straight up ignored, and item clause won't exist, and everyone will just use items as they see fit. And that's completely fine. I think for formats such as your high-end team tours, or your seasonals, whatever way they kind of look, or just even your standard PS leagues, I think that makes a lot of sense. But if you're looking at it from a Wi-Fi and content side of things, I hope that this is a good thing, and I think it will be a good thing. So let's see how this develops. My next fear is in relation to PP. I know that sounds hilarious out of context, but hear me out. What we've found out from this game is that the way they're doing PP is very different. The maximum PP you will see on any move is 16, which changes a lot of moves. One being spikes, flip turn is another, and from there everything kind of got bumped down. Stuff that was previously 16 is now 12, so that includes stuff like EQ, and you have a lot more APP moves. Another one that's fairly notable from VGC, but also for a couple months in draft, is Protect, meaning that you only get 8 of them now. It's in line with Detect, which is interesting, but it does change a lot of things. Wish Protect becomes a hell of a lot worse because you now have more wishes than you have Protects, which kind of makes no sense. I think with these PPs, it makes abilities like Pressure so much better. Because if you Protect on something, you've now wasted so much more of that PP because mons in general just don't have it as much. So, obviously I'm not expecting a lot of Pressure mons to make it early because they're legendaries, so I'm not expecting them to be in the game for a good while. I'd say it'll take a couple of months. But the big thing will be, you do have sub-protect pressure PP style strategies. Spite is another one that I think could become quite relevant in draft because PP is not as common as it used to be, especially if Protect is APP, which could be big for an Albemola or a Gliscor or insert any other Wish Passer here. That makes a big difference. And I think these PP changes could lead to just not a meta that's as enjoyable. It also technically means the metagame gets even more offensive, which was what I didn't want in the first place. I wanted a format that all playstyles could be considered good, and SV's volatility meant that some of them felt a hell of a lot better than others. And it looks like Champions is going to double down on that, and that gives me some apprehensions. My final and biggest hope is that the decks at launch is playable from a draft league perspective. This could be something that bites me in the ass very quickly, because that current list of playable monsters we have, a lot of it is not it. We don't have a ton of viable steel types, ground types are as bad as ever, and there's so many just filler nothing mons that no one's ever going to take. Like, who's going to take a Mr. Rhyme in 2026? There's a lot of mons that just don't seem like they're going to be the most viable. And as of now, we're looking at a number around 190. What I'm hoping is that number is at least 250, and if I'm pushing it, 300. I think 300 at launch would be fantastic. That is probably about half, maybe 40% of all fully evolved mons. And that would be fantastic to have right from the get-go. I do think that every mega is going to be in it at launch, maybe with a couple exceptions in like the legendaries and mythicals, but it's really hard to know at this stage. I don't know what way they're going to do that conversion, but we'll find out soon enough. I do think that it could be a bigger dex, and if it is viable enough, that means that day one we can just start playing the format, which would be huge. I'm honestly sick and tired of constantly having to deal with SV and the moaning that people have to do with SV. So if we have a Champions format that's playable and people actually like from the get-go, let's just put things in a much happier perspective. So that's my biggest hope, and please Ilka, Game Freak, and whoever else is involved, please do it right. My final fear is a simple one, but it's something that's not been addressed yet, which is a bit of a problem for draft. And that is that 6v6 still doesn't exist in this game yet. And my fear is it might not be. I'm still incredibly hopeful, but there's obviously that inkling of doubt in my mind. All we've seen so far is doubles and battle spot singles. And battle spot singles is the only thing they really incorporate on their online. It's been the same way for all of it since the 3DS days. So I really don't know. I think in the custom matchmaking there will be a 6v6 option. I'd like to think they'll keep it similar to how they did in SV. But that could just be something they look at and decide, no, it's not there. And what happens if 6v6 isn't in the game? Obviously the PS side of things will be fine, but what happens to Wi-Fi? All this momentum that has been gained over SV is just gone because of what we would view as a dumb decision. It would be incredibly frustrating. So at that point, I'm obviously fearful. And will draft survive? Obviously. But do I think the draft's in a better place if the format can be played on Champions? Yes. Yes, I do. I think everyone feels that way. Growth would be huge with a Champions boom. And if the format's not there, there's nothing we can do. Unless we want to start playing BattleSpot singles draft, which... please don't. It's not a good idea. That's the moral of the story. I can't have a bigger fear than that, and unfortunately, it's still somewhat genuine. Please prove me wrong in 2 weeks, but it's bleak until we get confirmed otherwise. And there you have it. A quick little rundown of some of my hopes and fears. I could have maybe gone into a couple more things, but they were so minute to the point that I didn't even think they were worth mentioning. And with me working on some bigger projects at the minute, I didn't want to make this too long. Champions is a week and a half away. I can't wait for this game to come out, and hopefully the monetization aspects are another thing, but that's a whole different issue that's not even related to draft. So I am looking forward to this game. Hopefully all goes off without a hitch and we're in a position where draft is in a great spot for it, but only time will tell. I hope you guys all enjoyed my little breakdown here, and if you did, please do let me know in all the good old YouTube ways. There's many ways to support the channel, and I appreciate all the support that's been coming throughout this series. Champions, only a week and a half away, guys. And I will see you with one video before it releases, which will be entirely separate, and then it's Champions content time, baby. I for one can't wait. Peace.